For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. Ukrainian forces say they've taken more ground in Russia's Kursk border region, capturing more than 100 Russian soldier prisoners and destroying a jet bomber. FSN's Simon Marks has more.
President Volodymyr Zelensky says his forces now hold 1,000 square kilometers of Russian territory after launching a surprise attack on a border post on Ukraine's eastern front. Dr. Eleanor Bindman of Manchester Metropolitan University says Kyiv may be trying to seize territory to use as a bargaining chip in any peace talks with the Kremlin.
It's possible that that is one of the aims and that the Ukrainians are trying to put themselves in a better position if it ever gets to the point that there are serious peace negotiations. Russia currently holds around 18% of Ukrainian territory, and it's been very clear that any negotiations would, their starting point would be that they're not going to give up any of that territory. So the Ukrainians may be wanting to kind of, come back with something stronger to say, well, we've got some of yours. So that's a sort of bargaining chip. I don't think ultimately that is really what's going to happen, because I think they probably will be forced to give it back. I think it's about boosting morale at home amongst the Ukrainian population, which is well over 2 years now into this brutal conflict.
This is the biggest incursion into Russian territory since the end of World War II. I'm Simon Marks.
Germany's issued a European arrest warrant against a Ukrainian who allegedly was part of a team that blew up the Nord Stream gas pipelines in the Black Sea, widely seen as an act of sabotage against Russia's invasion of Ukraine that resulted in the world's largest natural gas leak, emitting some 478,000 tons of methane into the atmosphere. 2 other diving instructors are also suspects. A Swedish investigation found traces of explosives on several objects recovered from the site, which they say confirmed the blasts were deliberate acts. Palestinian health officials say Israeli strikes across the Gaza Strip overnight and into today killed at least 20 people, including 5 children and their parents, as the death toll of Palestinians has almost reached 40,000 in Gaza. Israel's weekend strike on a school in Gaza City that killed more than 100 Palestinians was a topic of a United Nations Security Council meeting Tuesday. Scott Baba reports.
The United States representative to the United Nations, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, said that the United States was concerned over the reports of the Tabeen school strike, while still defending Israel's right to defend itself.
Hamas continues to gather and continues to operate out of schools with no regard for the well-being of civilians.
Riyad Mansour, the permanent observer of Palestine to the United Nations, said that the killings over the weekend made it clear that Israel has no intention of listening to or obeying UN appeals, and called on the United Nations to pass binding sanctions against Israel.
Stop imagining that you can reason with the Israeli government so it stops killing civilians by the thousands, imposing famine, torturing prisoners, colonizing and annexing our land, all while you appeal to them.
Israeli Ambassador Gilad Erdan, whose country isn't a council member, excoriated the group for convening the urgent meeting about Saturday's airstrike.
We targeted dangerous terrorists.
I'm Scott Baba.
Israel's published new plans for a West Bank settlement, which is illegal under international law. Far-right Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich said the move was a response to actions by the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank and countries which have recognized a Palestinian state. Last week, Israel revoked the diplomatic status of 8 Norwegian envoys in response to Norway saying it would recognize a Palestinian state. Abortion rights will be on the Missouri ballot. Voters in the state will decide whether to amend the state constitution, guaranteeing the right to an abortion in November. It's the 8th state to have abortion measures after organizers turned in more than enough signatures to qualify for the ballot, according to the Secretary of State Tuesday. Arizona's Secretary of State Monday said a constitutional amendment to protect abortion access would also qualify for the November ballot. They'll join Colorado, Florida, Maryland, Missouri, Nevada, and South Dakota to hold referendums on enshrining protections for abortion rights. 2 more states are likely to have abortion rights on the ballot, Montana, while Nebraska will likely have 2 competing measures, one to bar abortion rights, another to protect it. Donald Trump has lost his request for a new judge in his election interference New York hush money criminal case. Judge Juan Merchan, in a decision today, declined to step aside. Trump's lawyers argued Merchan has a conflict of interest because his daughter works as a political consultant for prominent Democrats and campaigns, including Vice President Kamala Harris's 2020 presidential run. A state court ethics panel last year said Merchan could continue on the case. Meanwhile, Trump will hold a rally and speech in North Carolina today that his campaign is billing as a significant economic address. Minnesota Governor and Democratic vice presidential candidate Tim Walz made his first solo campaign appearance Tuesday, speaking before the National Convention of AFSCME, the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees in L.A. Christopher Martinez reports.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is a longtime union member and supporter of organized labor.
And as a dues-paying member of my teachers' union for years, let me just say thank you again for having a fellow union member here.
Walz blasted Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump for his attitude towards working people.
As president, he cut overtime benefits for millions of workers, and he opposed any effort to raise the minimum wage.
He took particular aim at the controversial Project 2025, a detailed 900-page plan for a conservative presidency that was created by a team of former Trump administration officials and other supporters.
Donald Trump and J.D. Vance want to eliminate AFSCME and all public sector unions altogether. Hell, they're even going after the 40-hour work week. Child labor, oh yeah, that's in there too, by the way. Reducing the rules around our children, putting them into dangerous jobs again.
Trump has publicly distanced himself from Project 2025, but Walz is skeptical.
Trump's playing dumb. Oh, I don't know about 2025. If you're going to take the time to draw up a playbook, you're damn sure going to use it.
He also took aim at Trump's vice presidential candidate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance.
One of 4 senators, 4, that has never cast a vote on a pro-worker bill in his life.
I'm Christopher Martinez.
Progressive Minnesota Democrat Ilhan Omar won her primary race Tuesday, beating a Democratic challenger backed by the powerful pro-Israel lobby AIPAC. Omar, a critic of Israel's war in Gaza, successfully defended her seat against former Minneapolis City Council member Don Samuels, a more centrist Democrat. She garnered 56% of the vote. He garnered nearly 43%. I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.